And welcome back to La Vida Baseball. Bean Gian, welcome back. It's Friday. Ozzy Gian, Oni Gian. It's another. No,
it's a good Friday. Though.
It's a good Friday.
It's a great Friday.
Wow, we every time that we start this show lately has been like kind of doom and gloom. Not like today because of everything that's going on, but finally some positive news that we're gonna get our beloved sport back.
So baseball's back. Baseball's back. It's packed. It's exciting. Are you guys excited about baseball being back?
I am. Well, at some point I am. Some point I am because working and people be missing this game. We don't know how much we miss this game to this year. But also, I'm not very excited about the rules and all the situation because I'm 56. If you 8, 10. You can deal with that, but when you're baseball,
you're a purist.
Yeah, when you're watching baseball for so long in the same way, then when you see it in a different way and you got to talk about it, it's not going to be easy thing to go through. But I see Jeremiah coming and making comments like, "Well, why not? Why not? Why not?" No, I listened to Rick Renteria say about the rule, about the 12 no extra inning, men on second base. And Rick Renteria said it very clear, and I tip my hat for him because at least he said, I don't like it. I grew up in old school baseball, but that's how we have to deal with it. That's the way to talk. That's the way to talk. Not like, well, it might work. I might like it. Why not? They want to say stuff, but they're not going to make sure I'm not getting any problem.
And National League's going to have a DH.
I love that.
So listen, this is. I'm also a baseball purist. I don't think there's anything. Purist.
Every Friday, people.
My dad learns a new word every time. Baseball purist means I like the game the way it is because I don't care how long it is. Baseball's an acquired taste. I'm of the mindset that baseball is America's pastime, and the people now are excited that it's coming back. Let's adapt. Let's embrace this 60-game season that's going to happen, and every game. I mean, every city is going to get 30 home games. And Rick Hahn said, I love this quote. He said, you're going to win 20, you're going to lose 20. What are you going to do with that remaining 20?
He's mathematically correct.
Right, he's mathematically correct. So every team. I even saw yesterday that the Milwaukee Brewers after 60 games were in first place. Every team has a chance because it's such a short window. Every starter is only going to get how many starts? 5 starts, and they're going to have Garrett Cole on primetime, which is great. We'll be watching every game.
I think that's the part that I'm excited about that people don't realize is it's 30 games at home. It's a 60-game season. Everyone's going to go be all in. It's going to be playoff baseball from the start, even if your team is in it or not. Even if you can knock somebody
because
down.
You think you have a chance.
You think you have a chance. For the pitchers, we could talk about it a little bit later, but we discussed different strategies to get the most out of pitchers. The pitchers want to throw more because they feel healthy enough.
Empty the tank.
Think about the rules, okay? This is not a rule that was implemented in July and now someone's at a disadvantage. Everyone starts the tournament the same way, okay? The DH rule, for all you American National League purists, especially Cub fans, people that want to see the pitcher hit, let him hit. When you have the DH on the lineup, you don't have to hit an extra hitter.
Yeah, why the hell? Why would you do that?
You want to hit Madison Bumgarner? Hit the pitcher then.
Wait a minute. No. The fans and the media can say whatever they want to say. You ask any manager in baseball.
I want the hitter.
I want a DH. When I was managing, I always say on the paper, create my pitching. American League never have a bat to hit. We lose 2 players. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't fair because the game is different. But you can have more strategy with the DH, without the DH, during the game. Of course, obviously, when you make it the double switch,
the double switch is not that hard, guys.
But another thing is, you cannot hit wrong with the batting 7. You cannot do anything with batting 6.
It limits your options. It limits your options.
By the way, the pitcher is hitting 9th. So guess what, number 8 hitter? I'm not pie pitching, not pitching.
That's why I say.
But I love the fact that now you don't have to worry about putting Schwarber in the outfield if you don't want to.
I didn't like interplay American League teams.
For example,
they're an advantage.
With the Ferret.
Encarnacion.
Now Encarnacion is not going to be on the bench.
Exactly.
When they're playing National League.
When the people that talked about the rules, the reason is you're playing 10 games against the National League 6. No, it's 40-20. You're playing 20 games against the National League
in your division.
In your division, but it's still National League rules. So maybe 10 of those games you're on the road. So you're gonna lose Encarnacion for 10 games.
No, that happened with Jim Thomas, Harold Baker. Happened to the premier baseball player. When you always lose a guy, then you're gonna.
I love it. Just like I don't like pitchers throwing, I don't like hitters.
This is what we have to embrace, because this is going to be a thing that fans are going to fall in love with it, and they're going to get so much pressure that the MLB should just adopt this rule for.
If fans want to see pitchers hit at the end of the season, have a home run derby.
Okay, how about this one? I said that to one of my pitchers. I can say the name, Carlos Zambrano. I told Carlos Zambrano, I said, that's why you're pitching, because you can't hit.
Well, he thought he could hit.
Oh, he thought he could hit, but it was one point. He thought it was better hitting than the pitcher.
No,
I think it was.
Well, in Miami, I mean, you say like, hey, Carlos doesn't even want to bunt.
No, but that's what I say. The reason you're a pitcher, you can't hit.
Listen, I've never. This is going to sound crazy because I love my 162, but I've never been more excited than because of what's going to come. Just because of that,
but it wasn't shorting because economy. It wasn't shorting because the league.
No, health protocol.
It was health protocol. Oh, by the way, anything that's implemented that works,
they're going to keep.
They're going to keep it.
So they're going to start obviously with the extra innings. They're going to start, which I think minor leagues, some independent ball leagues adapted it. The runner gets to be on second. So now, a runner gets to be on second. What's your strategy?
Okay,
do you bunt?
Wait a minute.
I'm bunting.
First of all,
100%.
Who's running? The guy who make the last out
that I don't know.
The inning, or they're going to have a special runner?
Because if you have Dyson, listen, I mean, I don't know.
Because if you have special runner, then I bring the fastest kid in the country. I don't care you ever play baseball.
Just steal third.
I put it there. If I miss a bunt, you can steal third. Now I have a second base. But in the meanwhile, strategy, if you know managing winter league, be careful, because managing this game in the big league right now is a winter league
type mentality.
Why? Because you lose 5 games in a row, you can have big problems. And you win 5 games in a row, you'll be back in the
So what do you think? What do you think is the cutoff point to make the playoffs? 38.
I was looking at the over/under in Las Vegas. I think it's all based on your division. I think that you have to go 10 games above 500 to guarantee your division. But I think that 35 games plus is going to be the winners because, again, because of the negotiations back and forth, it didn't extend the playoffs, which I think is a negative for a lot of teams because now the good teams are still going to be good, meaning that I don't think there's going to be that many teams sneaking in like, oh, they had a good season because the playoffs are not extended. It's only still 10 teams, 5 from each league. So I really believe that it's going to be a 35 plus.
Okay, but me being the purist, this season is not like any other.
Okay, but what do you mean when you say purist? Okay, do you mean like Abner
There's
double
an
day?
asterisk.
No, say Abner double. Hold on. Abner double day purist. They didn't use bat gloves. They didn't use masks. They didn't have mitigation. What's the purist?
Whoever wins a World Series, it won't be the same as the Nationals winning the World Series.
I think if the Seattle Mariners win it, and are they going to get rings?
Yes.
Are they going to get shares?
That's all fine.
In your mentality,
but it's not the same as 05,
it might
2016.
It might not feel the same
it's
way,
not the same.
Everybody play with the same rules, with the same table feet there. People are going to talk about it. People are going to. I said, Poco Neco said that 2 weeks ago. Well, people are going to talk about this. That's not a full season.
Who's the home run king?
Stanton.
No, who's the home run king in MLB baseball history?
Oh, Hank Aaron.
Okay, so you would
have King Hair.
Like all time?
All time.
Oh, Barry.
Okay. Do you guys think that the people care there's an asterisk? So when they say, well, the 2020 champion, they're going to say, oh, well, it was the Cubs. Oh, hold on. But they have an asterisk. You're the champ. You're the champ.
No, that totally agree.
If you lose the Dodgers, you're still going to be judged.
They're under
right now, pressure. Everyone that was good, right now is a good time to be the Cleveland Indians. The Cubs are in that list too. My manager left. I don't have to be that good because we're rebuilding. But if you're like a team that's like on like the Dodgers, Nationals, the Astros, everyone that's there, the Yankees, even the White Sox,
White Sox. I keep reading and reading.
Whoa, you guys have the worst.
Please.
White Sox. No, you and your crowd, you and your fan base have the most. They feel when they talk. They feel like you don't have to play the game. And I just look at the team that's ahead of them, the Minnesota Twins, who won 100 games. Oh, by the way, last year in 60 games, they had won 42.
That's the other thing. People can start off. It's going to be hot right away. So no excuses about being cold. You're coming out of the gates firing because you know if you start 10-0 or 10-2, you're gonna make. You can basically exactly. So you're starting off. So basically, how it is that the Sox and the Cubs, they'll be playing each other, and then they're gonna play the NL Central, which is the Cardinals, the Brewers, the Reds. It's going to be exciting because we create the matchups, New York against the Mets, Cubs.
But they got the schedule out already?
No, they already know. Like the Dodgers going to play.
I do not want to be in the East Coast against those things. The National League is packed. The American League, I feel bad for the Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, it's very – we're going to get a heavy dose. I've seen Ronald Acuña's numbers against the Marlins. Like you can literally – if you kill those 2 or 3 weakling teams on your team, you have a really good chance.
So let's talk about the Rona. Okay, because obviously we want to talk about stats, the Rona, COVID-19. I will not say any more street names that have been given to the disease. But what happens if a few players or staff members come down with the Rona?
Send them home.
That's it.
So the rules have came out.
That's it.
So the rules are out on what would happen. Okay, they're saying that you have to test negative twice to be able to come back. And I think Major League Baseball is really going to get on top of this. It's probably going to be harder testing than anything because they don't want it to be used as competitive advantages. They've talked about designated injury list. I can't say disabled anymore. An injury list just for Corona, just for the COVID-19 if somebody does be there, because then they would put coaching staff and members in there of the COVID-19. The one rule change that I did not like, okay, and it's kind of awkward. I would have even been better off with guys wearing masks on the bench. I'm more for that, make like kind of a cool mask. Guys sitting in the stands. I have no idea how that's going to work. They're saying that guys are going to have to sit behind.
Which is so awesome.
I have a question.
Or the coaches or the trainers. Do you imagine Hermie or Brian Ball or the doctors trying to get out of the stands to go?
No, I have a question. Okay, you're going to be together on the bus. You're going to be together on the clubhouse. You're going to be together on the hotel. Why you cannot be together on the bench? This is overrated to people like, oh, look at what we're doing now.
Yeah.
No.
Even the high-fiving, I'm okay with not doing it because I just saw Japan. Adam Jones went deep, and they do like, it's kind of cool. They do like imaginary high fives, and it looks awesome. That I understand. Teams could do funny things like a dancing thing, but the whole thing about not being in the dugout from a strategic standpoint, I don't get it because it's not like players are coming out of a vessel just to play. Everyone's going to be amongst.
Yeah, like what about when the manager, when Ricky goes to the mom? Is he
no mom visits?
What I mean, no
how
mom
are you going to take the picture?
Next guy, no mom visits.
Okay, now the technique and the technology is so good. I will call. Give me your number. Because hey,
are you ready? Are you ready?
No. The guy said, hey, listen, keep the ball down. This guy turn low and away. Like, why are we going to do that? You know what I mean? That's the thing. I not get it. If the guy going to talk to the players in batting practice, why cannot visit to the mound? The guys on the mound is healthy. The manager is certainly healthy because they're going to
get tested temperatures every day. They're going to do antibodies every 3 days.
I honestly think that if someone does test positive for the corona, is that they're going to send them. They're going to send them home like being on a like being on a DF.
Okay, people are going. Okay, so this is not the Browns. This is not the Browns.
Test me right now. Did you test me right now? I will come out with corona.
Well, that's your opinion on because you think that there's some weirdness going on with the testing. But here's the situation. I think that in baseball we've been and again, I do not want to make this political. I do not want to make this scientific. But we need to focus on the number of non-players that are getting sick. Okay, I haven't heard of one team in MLB saying
our whole team's sick.
We got 9 guys. Out of our 9 starters, 8 are sick. Okay, that hasn't happened yet. If that does happen, then you have to be like, whoa, from a team standpoint, and then you maybe leave the tournament. But there's like 96%, guys of being healthy. If you're around baseball, people catch the flu. It's like when you're in the office. Oh, Jimmy's sick. Okay, don't get close to Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, stay home. I think the part that's super important about this, okay, and this comes down to leadership. And sorry, analytic fans and people that care about analytics and say that managers don't matter. Here's a moment when it does. Why? How are managers and coaches going to be able to get their players riled up and on the same page to not go out and break the rules? What do I mean? You're playing really bad. You decide to go out and visit a bar where there's a lot of people. Why? Phase 4. You can go out and do it. So
it'll be in phase 5. People can go out and stop.
Exactly, but that's what I mean. For you to keep your team safe, okay? If I am the Dodgers and I'm the team captain, if I am the Yankees, and I know that I have a chance to win this, even though my manager might not think so or he doesn't want to have this conversation, I would tell my teammates, guys, don't go out. Don't get it. No, because you don't want to lose. You're in the middle of a pennant race, and it's like a guy going out and being hungover and getting caught with a DUI, and now you're just, you lose this guy for 3 weeks. It's the same thing. It's, hey, let's go to bed early. It's how do you monitor yourselves to be able to keep yourself safe? Because it's only a 60-game season, 2 months. Let's stay focused, because the last thing you want is a team's in the middle of a pennant race and somebody goes down.
Your big gun goes down.
A random team. We'll say the Seattle Mariners, and the number 1 player goes down because he was partying out in San Diego or somewhere and gets the Rona.
I think that has to be the manager's not going to be able to control that. It's a responsibility of the
personal responsibility.
But I'm saying as a team, like you tell your players, I know you have, like, hey guys, party, but party safe. Be smart. But I also seen guys in the middle of a pennant race tell guys, hey, slow it down. Like, we need to, it's not like we're not going to do it, but we need to stay focused. Like, it's okay if you're going to do that. Like, have a team party at the hotel, like things like that. Like, I want to see how guys, and again, team chemistry is going to be all about this. Like, if a player tells player A, hey man, why were you going to a restaurant? The player saying, that's none of your business. I can do whatever I want. That sort of interaction right now in the clubhouse, and that energy in a 60-game season, so much stress, so much going on is going to be key. So a lot of, there's teams that have great leadership right now, which is a good thing for them. Like, for example, the Kansas City Royals, new manager, Mike Matheny. I think will handle it great. Joe Madden. But it's also going to be new guys that I want to see how they're going to handle it. David Ross, which, again, he has a team that's on his side. But managers that are going to have to deal with this, this is going to be a part of the communication between players and front office and managers, and how to be able to stay on the field is going to be something.
This stuff is
this is going to
right
away. First thing, listen, guys, you say that as a manager.
No messing around.
I now want you to. That happened with me when I was managing with the steroids. I say, hey, I'm not behind you. I will throw you under the bus and you get caught. Same way with the but some managers now they're scared to say that. Like, oh, I respect the player. I say no. If you get caught with PED, whatever
PED,
well, you get caught, you done. I'll be the first one to want all over you.
Yeah.
Why? Because they told you exactly what not to do, what not to use. Then they told them, hey, listen, you will not take the risk. Just be careful. But the manager has to step it up and say it. That's the way we're going to address stuff.
I got to address this. We have a fan, Rodrigo Diaz, that just asked the question, how will the players handle each other sneezing in the clubhouse? Okay, Rodrigo, sneezing has happened forever. Okay, you don't have a player.
Always cover your.
You don't have a player when he says, I'm sneezing, and get in the middle of the hallway.
Besides Corona,
people would fight over that.
In front of that, like 1980 with no Corona, they will kick you.
Like that's just called common sense and hygiene. Like, you don't sneeze on somebody.
You're in your locker.
You cover up. Again, this is called. These players are like, they're not little 5-year-olds.
By the way, this is especially when they same way when the gas.
Yeah, when they fart. I mean,
gas means a fart.
A fart.
When you next to another player, you be ready to fight.
Oh yeah, that's just stuff that's not good.
About that.
One thing. By the way, he was joking. Great, good job. Okay, Rodriguez, thank you. I'm glad that you were joking because again, these players are they know what they're doing. One thing that I want to fight that I think no one's talking about, and I think this is again goes into the chemistry of how the managers are going to handle it. BLM is happening. Black Lives Matter. The movement. Major League Baseball has ever been about the guys taking a knee. Guys have been very vocal on social media. We have guys from the old school against the new school. Are players like is Trevor Bauer going to be tweeting as much as he has during the offseason, during the season? And is Major League Baseball going to allow it? And how are teams going to react, and other players and the league, when someone decides to start taking a knee or protesting during the national anthem? Because again, 30 games, it's going to be a lot of eyeballs on you.
This is a very, very difficult thing to talk about it because it's very sensitive. You have to respect that. But if you play for a team, and I agree with Tony Russo said, you have to respect the team. If you don't have to be on the national anthem or whatever, that's fine with you. But I don't think doing that, you don't make any difference. You're just making people talk about you.
So you're saying that I think from a team standpoint,
I think as
an organization, you have to say, guys, this is what we're going to do.
What it is.
Yeah, this is what we're going to do, and have a united front. If it's going to be
against that, please come over right now.
And again, this all just leads to excitement. I'm going to literally watch as many games as I can Because
I'm watching from the national anthem, all the way through. I want to see how they handle the entertainment. Yeah, are they going to have audio? Are they going to do what Japan does? Are they going to do what the soccer leagues do in Europe? That they have audio just to hear some fans? I think they will. If the White Sox were offering cutoffs, I was actually going to put in my submit line. Like right now, like Eminem guy, and Mr. Pink Hat with the Cubs. They should let him have a cutoff. No, because I'm used to seeing him. They should have him with his pink hat, and they should have
and more pressure for you guys in the studio when you analyze this. You have to analyze game one like it's game.
This is the closest. Exactly. This is going to be the closest you're ever going to get to the playoffs. It's fun. So it's going to be fun. But I'm going to be honest with you, and this is something that I would hate if I was a player, just like guys hated playing during PDs. Right now, man, especially as a player of color or like just anything, like even if you're a guy who wants to stay away from stuff, it's really hard to play right now because the world of social media, like you're really scared of writing.
Oh my God!
Because everything is made political.
Well, if you guys haven't kept up with the Aubrey Huffs, Kurt Schilling got after fighting.
And I'm not gonna do that. People need to keep separate playing career and what someone believes personally and politically. So attacking and saying, that you're never the pitcher Trevor was. That has nothing to do with pitching and politics. So that's why players are scared. Like, you can be friends with someone and think, this person's not like this on a baseball level.
Well, that happened to me. Aubrey, I played with Aubrey, and I know him for a little while.
You played with him in
Tampa. I write him like crazy. But the thing was, I just I know this man is a great man and he's a great teammate. That's it. People went crazy. Oh, you are. I didn't know what. Wait a minute. I didn't know what he write before that. I didn't know what he was talking about. I know what talking about. I was a great teammate. So
I'll give you an example.
He responded.
So I'll give you an example.
And people think like I was.
Okay, so
I was with him with all the stuff.
Okay, I've known Aubrey very, very well. Okay, so if someone came up to me and asked me, with a lie detector test and said, what has been my interaction, me personally, as a human being with him is completely different than what I read on Twitter.
Yes.
Okay, but I can't ever go on there because then my political stance will be in there. I want to say right now, do I think Black Lives Matter? Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a movement. Okay, do I have an opinion that if a couple guys in a team take a stand on something and other teammates are not for it, that it can cause clubhouse chemistry issue? I also believe that because I do believe that. I think that views and how you view things do create problems,
and that's
in the clubhouse.
And that's the problem that we're dealing with now, other than everything that's going on in the world, is because Aubrey sends whatever, or Trevor Bauer, they can send tweets, and people can have a different feeling about them because they deal with them personally, that they're not bad people or whatever. And that's a shame because I don't know Trevor. Speaking of someone that I have experience with, with Twitter, people take your words literal. And they judge you based on that.
So right now, everyone thinks, and I do not know this kid, that he was like anti the union for what he kept saying, and that the union hates him, and he was like, I don't want the union with Trevor. Like he kept saying that because it's gotten leaked out that the union wasn't very happy with him.
It should. I said that 2 shows ago. Teacher said, if that was Clark, I told this kid, shut up, please. Let us negotiate.
So this is the challenge of
pressure. Whenever he pitches.
Oh, for sure.
Everyone's watching.
Exactly.
Okay. If he gets his boobs lit, they're gonna be on him so bad. So you didn't get the sprint rate. Why don't you tweet about that? Why don't you throw the ball?
I think, for example,
he created himself a hotbed.
He's been in baseball for 8 years, but all these guys that are on
how many years?
For 8. So he's been in baseball.
By the way,
did you hear about him before? Did you hear about him before?
It's sad when you spend that many years in baseball, and now they know you, but tell them what to say the field and Twitter.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying though. So like when we talked about Reggie Jackson, Reggie. Okay, and he was a stir.
I'm the straw that stirred this dude.
New York when crazy teammates hated him. That happens every day now. So when he says I'm a purist, the whole social media world and how they're going to handle the situation. I said, Cisco, I'm going to do the plug-in. Okay. Have WebEx teams. They need to have.
I want guys to be tweeting from the stands.
They
just third inning. And there's guys like, hey, we're hanging out here.
But you're a purist.
Because we can't control what guys do. unless they put a rule and say, guys.
But then you're telling them that they can't have free.
Like, okay, so you're a pitcher. You're a starter. You're a third starter. You're going to take your phone in the stand. You're going to take your phone in the stand. No. Esteban Loaiza. I think it's like that. Esteban Loaiza used to tweet. Or not tweet. He'd text. Literally, he'd come in
the mound.
I'm like, hey, go get my phone call. And I'm like, Loaiza was always on his phone. Ozzie Jr. True story. Before we jump into the next topic, he's watching Loaiza in the playoffs.
We did.
In the bullpen. And he goes, I guarantee you, he was on the Yankees. If I text Loaiza right now, will he text me back? Ozzie grabs his phone. They're playing the Red Sox. He texts Loaiza, and Loaiza texted him back. Guys are going to have a phone.
Wait a minute. Okay, if I was a manager, and I don't want all the managers to give my ideas, please don't get you on. That's funny because if my players going to sit in the stands, I said, bull crap, just sitting in the clubhouse.
Yeah, you want to have him inside.
At least watching the game on TV.
Well, that's the thing that's funny is, and people don't realize this, one of the biggest challenges for managers and coaches is the guys that are not on the bench and the pitchers is keeping them from eating cheeseburgers, hot dogs, getting treatment done, texting, playing video games, watching movies, what Oni said.
This guy used to hate when the guys are watching football.
No, that's what I mean. So it's a big challenge, and that's a challenge across the whole league, okay? Yeah. There's managers that hate guys that are in the tape, like inside hitting, is not watching the games. And this, by the way, this is
Jim Leland. Jim Leland used to tell guys, when they go in, give me a coffee. So make them come down.
Yeah, so this is the part that people don't realize. This is why your son and daughter, when they're playing in high school, run to the pool. Okay? It's not to warm them up. It's because your coach wants to keep you in the game
engaged
and not talking about what you did in school the day before. And your college coach says, you have the book, you do, and everybody has like a job so they can keep you engaged in the game. That's just the reality of it. So 60 games. It's a log jam to the end. It's going to be intense. It's going to be, I think that people that do not watch, I think that people that don't watch winter ball in Latin America, in any of the leagues, and you've only watched Major League Baseball, you're in for a surprise. You think that you've seen a roller coaster, or that you think September and losing it in September is a big deal? How about you're out of it in July? Your team might come out. You might be the New York Yankees, and you want a 10-game losing streak.
I haven't watched this much baseball since 2012, my dad's last year managing. This year, I will watch. Obviously, I watch the Sox and the Cubs because they're our hometown team, and there's a couple of teams out there that I root for because we have friends. I have friends. I have
Tampa,
family.
Twins,
I'm going to root for Arizona,
Tigers,
St. Louis, and Minnesota because I've never been more excited, and it sucks that we almost didn't get a season, but I've never been more excited to have a season than this year because literally Tampa Bay, they're an intriguing team because they're always there, but the Yankees, Tampa can win the division in this small window.
Anything.
So the part that's scary is when we look at the numbers, okay, and we have the MLB projections for 2020. Again, these are all projections. I have to plug myself in. I have won 3 years in a row in like the last 6 out of 7 in projecting in the Guillen family, including Osley.
He has.
I'm very, very good at projecting. Last year, I hit the White Sox win.
This is sport.
What he says on live, I got a whole different thing than what he says on TV.
No, wait, but hey, 3 times I went on TV.
You got the number. Okay, but admit it.
I got it.
You got the number because of me.
Exactly. You can call Layla right now.
Yeah. I know that. I give you the number.
Exactly.
So I predicted the White Sox win and loss record by less than 3% for the last 5 years. I'm just really good at it. Cubs.
By the way, I'm looking at this thing.
So everyone's close.
They have the Cubs 4th.
Okay, so the difference between first place and last place in a 162-game season, the difference is like humongous. Like 2 months of baseball, which is, it happens. But when you look at the difference between like the first place Yankees and the last place Orioles, it's like a week window. It's like a week or 2 weeks and a half. So that variance, and now I'm talking like numbers wise, that variance for like a mistake, it's very like.
Okay, Ozzy, look at this. It's funny because now those games you're going to lose against your division because 2. Now it goes 4.
You can't. You can't go in there. If you're the Yankees, you can't get swept by the Orioles. No, which can happen. It happens all the time.
So for the Cubs Sox people out there that are probably going to be writing me, I don't care about the Cubs Sox. Cubs Sox is like a huge. No. I do not care about the 6 games we're going to play against that team. The teams that the Cubs should care about is your division.
Yes.
The Mets Yankees, it's going to get intense. The Mets do not care about the American League because it's only 20. It's only 10 games out of like the 20 games out of the 40. That 40 games against your division, beating in your division is key.
I remember Bobby Cox. I asked him, I want to be manager when the coach when I'm done with the game. I asked him, Bobby, a lot of questions. And I asked Bobby about the division. You talk about division winning experience, Bobby Cox. And I said, Ozzy, beat the crap at your division.
I doubt he said crap.
No,
what did he say?
No.
S-I-T.
Yeah. Okay, beat the at the team and fight with another ones. That means when you go to play, you gotta go there.
And I want to see what, because there's going to be some fans, and everyone's going to be watching the Astros.
Well, so people are saying,
I'm going to be watching.
So the Astros still have a chance. I think they're the favorites in the division. Here's the part though: just because your team won the division doesn't mean that when they go to the playoffs, it's a new setup. So the Twins will probably get knocked out by the Yankees again because it's the playoffs. If they would have expanded the playoffs, I would have said different story. But the playoffs are the same. So your team might have a playoff berth that you've never had before, but to actually advance, I still have the favorite teams. Here's the part that's interesting. Like right now, there's free agents that I think could change a team. For example, you put a Yasiel Puig on Seattle. And why hasn't Yasiel Puig?
He's not been picked up.
He hasn't picked up.
Why? Yasiel Puig want to make more money.
Well, Yasiel Puig wants to get paid $175 million. Like just really bad timing. And I think that I'm not saying Yasiel, his team, because it's everybody in the team. I think they put the price tag too high. And now they're in a situation where baseball have this happen.
He never produced.
Who wins the World Series?
That's hard questions because that's
who's there? Who's there?
For me?
Yeah.
I think Houston should be there.
I think this is. I'm sorry, Dodgers. I think this is the year to win it, and it's only 60 games. It's like, we finally win it, and
Dodgers Yankees.
We finally win it, and no one cares because it's like, you won 60 games. This is the year that they
So what's the division? What's the weakest division in out of the three?
The weakest?
Like who's going to have like the easiest?
I think the NL West is pretty weak.
It's pretty weak, and then who's going to have? Who has the hardest division?
The AL East and the NL East.
I think the National League East
is loaded
because the only team that's like the punching bag
is
they're not a punching bag. They got a couple
Mets. The Mets with that rotation, scary in a short season.
But you know what?
Scary. They got Stroman, DeGrom.
Yeah, but we keep saying that
I don't know. They have a new manager.
They have a new manager.
I don't want to call it New York Mets. I call it the New York Health.
Yeah, no, it's healthy.
Those guys stay healthy. Watch out.
But for example, the Phillies also. But here's the thing, though, with the Cubs. Like, okay, so every time with the Cubs,
wouldn't you love to see the Royals like just sneak in?
That's what I'm talking about. And again,
how about Cubs sucks?
Okay,
no, that's not gonna happen.
I think it's hard to advance in, but I'm saying you look at teams, and then the issue with the Cubs has been, as of lately, is holding it the whole way. Okay, the issue with the White Sox has been they get hot early and then they go really, really bad and then they can't finish off. In the shortened season, the Royals could get hot and stay hot enough to fight for a playoff spot.
That's what the difference is.
So I have a question in managing, go to analytics, okay? When your pitcher, again, this is not considering Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander. They're in an elite group. They're in the first class when you get on an airplane. Just because you sit in row 9 right behind first class does not mean that you're in first class. You can smell it, you can look at it, but you're not in first class, kid. Okay? You might get off the plane right after first class, but you're not. That's how pitching is. There's a group of guys that are in pitching that are up there. I'm not talking about there's a very enhanced few. But there's other guys that are trying to get into that first class. Okay? They're trying to jump in there. The consistency is not there. This in a 60-game season, that's what worries me. When Lucas Giolito needs to find the strike zone, and he has to go 2, 3, 4 starts when he has to do that. Okay? You don't have time for that learning curve. Nope. So, like, for guys like Cincinnati, is Castillo going to be ready and become that elite player? So the teams that are going to be good are the teams that are going to be elite or find ways to win games early on. Because I know what Scherzer's going to do. I know what Verlander's going to do. Like, those starters are going to be like, they're going to give you competition unless they're completely off. But the teams that have the asterisk on how good are we going to be potentially, Tampa's going to have a chance every time Blake Snell goes out. We know that. He is up there. But, like, what's their fifth starter going to do? Right now, it gets really interesting with the way that you.
No starter.
Well,
the opener.
I gotta say this on the show on Being Ian.
Adi hates
the word opener. Why?
Opener is the thing you.
No. If you're a closer, Okay, and your manager decides for that game to put you as the first pitcher on the mound in the first inning. That means that day you're called the starting pitcher. Okay, so the opener is basically saying, Ozzy, you're the opener. I would literally go on the paper and says, my manager thinks I suck, so that's why he's calling me an opener. Just call me a starting pitcher and take me out whenever you want. So this whole thing, like the opener,
you're going to see guys.
You're telling guys that are going to be like, okay, how about this? New manager, David Ross, doesn't tell anybody. Lester's a little tight. He needs time to throw. And he goes, okay, John Lester. And Lester only goes 3 innings. Amazing 3 innings. And they win by bullpenning. Do you think he's going to call him the opener? He's like, no, Lester just went 3 innings, and that's what we're doing. Starting pitcher. He's a starting pitcher.
That's what makes all of this so interesting.
Buzzword. Because I give my man a good. I'm working about yesterday a lot about it. I say, I'm going piggyback.
But hold on. I'm marketing piggyback. If anyone writes a book and takes this idea, just like they did with Lon Chango, on other people's ideas, piggybacking is a term used in winter ball. It means when you have 2 guys that are potential starters, they're starters, meaning that's what they do for a living in the States, pitch on the same day. So, for example, Chicago White Sox fans, you always get mad after, Ronaldo Lopez can't get past the third. You would go with Ronaldo Lopez, Dylan DeCease on that day. Which,
I am literally falling out of my seat I'm more excited for the start of the season than I am for my own season. Like, this is going to be so great because you're going to see people like this. They're going to start different ideas. They're going to start that, which realistically, all you want is to be like, here you go, Dylan Cease.
Okay,
go. No, wait a minute.
Oh, of course.
No. We talk about the White Sox because we're in town. But
of course.
I wasn't manager. I have a guy, it's a lot of if. I say, here is what is it? Coppet. They send it down. I put it back in the big league. You start the first 3 innings, then Lopez pitches 3 to the 6. I don't care. They score 10 or they score 1.
You have more of like a throwing development. Like if you're going to go 3-4 and you're going to throw, and then you're going to have those guys throwing. But the part this is interesting is the taxi squads. If you don't know what a taxi squad is, basically it's a new version of the minor league system where you have all your best prospects. There's a lot of kids that are top prospects.
But they're going to it's a 60 guy camp.
Okay, so you can have your best prospect. Okay, you can have this kid.
Oh, you only got 4 guys then.
No,
baseball.
No. So hold on. So you can have a prospect. 60. No. So you have 6. Hold on. The limit is 60. There's teams that only have 10 guys. So you can be a top prospect in single A. And if your team is the Kansas City Royals and you're in the middle of a pennant race, okay,
get them all up there.
And they need a bullpen guy and you're a pitcher. That guy might be in the big leagues 3 years earlier. So there might be guys that are going to be in the big leagues sooner because of the expanding of the season and like the run than we've ever seen before. Because now they don't have to the whole movement. So when you're in the minor leagues and they move somebody out of the 40-man roster, you got to move somebody to bring somebody in.
All this did this corona and this pandemic is it made us miss baseball and it made us miss sports in general. And now we realize how big sports plays in society. Like, I'm so excited for my dad to go to the studio. I'm so excited to watch, and I keep bringing it up because we have missed baseball. We're yearning for it. Another big word.
You got 40.
We are like, we can't wait for them to say play ball. And whatever restrictions they got to do, I don't know how they're going to control the spitting and the no.
I mean, what they go?
Like,
okay,
you're out of the game.
Time.
You're out of the game.
You're out of the game. Technically, hold on. I played in the Christian league.
I spit all the time.
I played in the Christian league for softball, and I said a bad word.
Okay,
hold on, and they said, hey, it's the same thing. When you talk about it, when you do it, they say that's a warning. You spit again, you're out of the game. And then they see you.
I said, next time I'm going to spit, I will spit in your face.
Well, then you're going to get.
Now you got a good.
Well, that's Ozzy baseball. But
no, it's not.
How do you control that? By easily, just like how you control everything, like chewing tobacco. You look at them and you say, you spit again, you're out of the game.
Wait a minute. I'm managing. And Moncada go out of speed on it. Don't pass call time. I say, you got a warning. You know the first thing I got to come on. Don't be watching my players. Watching stinky balls.
But that's you as a manager. But doesn't mean the
you worry about
my dad in the 60-game season. He'd be like,
but how do you control it? You say that's a warning. You can't do that anymore.
Okay, listen. Very warning. I was talking about time out. Let's go there. So listen, you worry about the ref and the left, the right and the left, and you know what about the one.
If I'm the umpire, I tell you, Ozzy, read the rules.
The new rules.
I have to implement it.
I will argue with Hunter Reynolds at one time called my dad Jose. He said, "Read the rule book, Jose."
No, if I was an umpire and he came out to argue that, I said, he might be like, you know what? I let like 5 guys go by it. Here's the other thing: if I'm on the other bench, I'm watching your best player. I'm like, your job today is to watch Moncada. If Moncada even looks the other way spitting, you let me know because I'm going to let the umpire know. This is going to be ways to get guys out of the game. This guy's like the rosin bag. Like the whole thing, if you get somebody's head, best thing to do opening pitching when guys like to wear stuff. I would do this every time as a manager. If I know I got somebody in the head that is a very superstitious person that's coming out of the bullpen, a guy that counts his steps, does this, do that. This is like what analytics
take his team off.
I'll call time out. I go out and say, you know what? I don't know. The shirt, something's off. Just to have the umpire go up there because he has to go check and say, hey, man, I don't know. Oh, he doesn't have anything. Oh, we thought we saw something. That mental game.
You know he would be. He would be.
Hey, you're right. You bastard.
Hey, special question. Pitcher come out of the mouth, got the rosin back.
Can't do that.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, now, hey, you can do that. I say, well, that boy's slick. Give me another one. That boy's slick. Give me another one. That boy's slick. Oh, yes.
Okay, but then you know you can throw somebody out. The umpire has a demand.
I know that.
You got to throw the ball to the next one. The ball's slick. Then the umpire has the right to say, "Excuse me, sir, you're out of the game." This is just going to be like fighting. Just people are like, "Oh, this is just like the Astros."
It's question because
you know how the Astros are not going to get hit. How Major League Baseball takes care of this? First guy comes up, boom. Okay, we'll let it go. Next guy gets up. Major League Baseball says, "Who hit him?" Oh, so and so.
By the way. The Astros will get hit.
Okay, but not at the rate. So?
Yes.
Okay, but not at the rate.
I mean, there's going to be a guy that's going to drill out.
Okay, Bauer, show me.
I don't think they face each other.
Oh, they don't. Oh, God.
It's got to go in different divisions. But
by the way, why are you putting it on Bauer? The Dodgers.
No, the Bauer.
Dodgers.
First at Bauer.
And he goes, what? Okay, but I'm saying,
remember.
Pitchers don't pay no more.
AJ Hinch. He's not the manager. You know the manager for the Houston Astros?
Dusty.
Well, he been back 4 coming down.
Dusty. I saw Dusty coming into the airport yesterday at Houston.
I don't think he's going to be as good as a manager. No toothpick. I got to see Dusty without a toothpick.
He can't. No toothpick.
No toothpick.
Because of the whole COVID.
If he has one, I say, if he has one, if I'm the manager, I say, hey, Dusty can have his toothpick.
Hey, by the way, everyone that's up, the reason I wore my hat backwards is because of the kid. Because I know that's our next topic.
The kid like me?
No, Kid Griffey.
By the way, so when everyone's like, oh, you got your name like Ozzy, like Ken Griffey's name after his father. I said, well, baseball skill wise is a little bit different. Well, people were like, oh, about juniors. I said, okay.
I want to say this.
There's only 2 juniors.
The long gone summer fell flat on his face. We talked about it last week. It was terrible. Props, because he's always criticizing MLB Network. Props to MLB Network. They got LeBron James on the documentary.
I don't know why LeBron was there. But
they got LeBron James. Why is he on there? Because LeBron James, an African-American kid, would watch Ken Griffey Jr. and say, you know what? Baseball is cool. Amazing job, MLB Network, with the Ken Griffey Jr. documentary. And now
how cool was Griffey? My dad played on the White Sox, and when Griffey was in town, I'd wear Griffey stuff.
Who's the best player that my dad's ever managed? Don't consider their prime.
Ken Griffey.
Roberto Alomar.
Okay, that's your Ken Griffey Jr.
I'm going to give a story real quick. This is how big Ken Griffey is, and we had Jim Thome, one of the coolest guys ever. We had Manny Ramirez got traded in the middle of the season. We had big name guys, future Hall of Famers, whatever. When Ken Griffey Jr. got traded, and again, I have a different experience with Griffey because he saw me growing up, so I know who he is. He got traded. We had guys in the White Sox clubhouse, okay, a team that went into the playoffs, so it wasn't a bunch of young kids, like meaning first in the big leagues. They had jerseys, okay? They had jerseys bought, and they had stuff for him to sign when we got to Kansas City. For him to, when he came in and he met everybody, guys were coming up to him like, Mr. Griffey.
Good players.
Good. I'm talking about guys that are making millions of dollars, and they're asking for his autograph. Like, hey, guys asking for his bats. Hey, can I have a bat after you're done using it?
I only got 3 bats.
I've never seen somebody maybe in the sport of baseball have such an impact on players of like getting on a team and people being like, wow.
The complete opposite of Barry. And I met Barry Bonds a couple times on convocation. He was not always nice to us, but he's a different kind of guy. When Ken Griffey Jr. got to the White Sox and you get to hang out with him, probably one of the nicest and loves to joke around. He also didn't get old. He's still that guy, joking around, enjoying it. He'd make fun. He'd look at Ozzy and say, hey, man, when's the last time you listened to me? Like, he is.
Me. I said, man, I play for you.
You don't even know that his first home run in the Kingdom was against you.
Yeah, but
do you remember?
I don't know.
1989. You had a pitcher named Scott King.
The beer beggar.
the nickname King. He hit a home run in his first at bat in the Kingdom, and you're there. Probably one of the loudest places ever after the Metrodome. But I saw this documentary, and it made me think of Ken Griffey Jr., the man, the baseball player. And I will say this: if he doesn't have injuries, is he the greatest baseball?
I think
take steroids out.
No. I think that is he the greatest baseball? So Barry Bonds, I'll give you the difference, and maybe because Barry was in the National League. So when we were growing up, and Frank Thomas was on our team, Ken Griffey Jr. was the guy in the media and everywhere that was the guy that was going to break Hank's record. He came in. He was A-Rod before A-Rod. Like, he was the guy that came in and was like, he was like, to me, it was like the first guy they were talking about.
But
no, but I'm talking about getting caught. So the kid was the first guy that came in, and you heard people talking about him like they would talk about Mickey Mantle and Lou Gehrig. Like, this is like you're watching. Like, I would tell my son now, hey, Mike Trout, like, you're watching a legend. You're watching Messi, Ronaldo. So he was the first guy. First guy. If he doesn't get injured, he doesn't. I think he crushes it because prior to him getting injured, no one talked about Barry.
But naturally, because he just played the game.
How about the way he plays in the field? The way he run the bases.
It was like watching a deer.
No, I think the best thing about it is that if you
thanks to him, the Seattle Mariners, you got to
do he saved baseball in Seattle. Okay, he went back to Cincinnati, his hometown, and played. I think that the reason he's so good is because being a Major League Baseball player's son, and people critiqued him for saying, he said, I played for this for the love of the game. And people were like, oh, you're so dumb. I said, he's right. What do you mean he's right? I said, his dad did really well off, and he went to really good schools. Ken Griffey Jr. could have gone and played basketball, could have gone and played football, could have gone and played soccer. Any sport. This kid's an amazing. You look at him; he's an amazing athlete. He's going to go into his dad's sport. Okay, money-wise, he probably could have. He's a prospect, other things. So why not go build your name? So he literally went into baseball because he loved the game. Because when you grow up in the big league clubhouse, getting to the big leagues is like you've already been there. Like he's grew
up in the big league club. They're a bunch of spoiled kids.
We are spoiled kids. Like,
of spoiled.
You grow up backwards.
They grow up with money. They grow up with everything. Okay, baby. I seen it. I see the kids, like, they come to the ballpark, I curse. Players could be. I let kids all the time to the club, all the time.
So the fact that he was that good,
what resonated with me, another word resonated. I want to write that one down. What resonated with me was when he said, I want to be a father. I want a normal life, but I have an abnormal profession. Mm-hmm. That resonated with me. Ken Griffey Jr. didn't decide to go to New York, LA. He decided to go to Cincinnati because he wanted to be around his family.
Yeah.
He wanted to be around his kids.
He wanted to be as normal as possible.
Exactly. He's amazing at what he did. Unbelievable. But if you look at the guy and basically said, like, hey, trade me. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be in Seattle and my family in Florida. Trade me to Cincinnati. I want to be around my kids, around my wife. And if you look at him now with his kids, and his kids are all grown up, you can tell he's an amazing baseball player, but probably even a better dad. And that resonated with me because we grew up the same way as Griffey's kids. You grow up and you don't see it. We got lucky that my dad played in Chicago for so long and that you were be around us a lot. I can only imagine. Like, he's like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore because he like he says, he didn't see his dad a lot growing up because his dad was traveling a lot. After he got done with the Big Red Machine, he was on different teams. So the fact that Griffey decided, I'm not doing this to my kids. I want to be around my kids. That is like, wow.
The only thing I don't like about him, the hat, he's a pilot.
Oh, he flies planes.
Flyer games?
Yeah, very good.
And by the way,
we actually talked about when we were at the MLB The Show event. We saw each other. He gave an interview to La Vida Baseball with Jennifer Mercedes. We talked like always.
Do you remember going to Nike Town?
Oh, yeah.
And getting his shoe?
Of course.
He had a damn shoe.
So we talked about Ozzy saying, as your dad got annoying because he's a grandfather, said, my father's the worst. Don't judge Ozzy. He's going to be horrible. And all the discipline that he had with you is going out the window. Granddaddy. So we talked. And he was talking about, the flying the plane and whatnot. And but he's always, his heart, his soul, when you talk to him, he's still a kid. Like, he never got older. The part that I also respect,
he's so stupid. They're like, come on, man,
So
and people don't realize his legs were really, really bad. So when he got to the Sox, he was playing during the blackout game. He was playing center field. He threw out the runner going to the plate. I don't know how.
You could fit your hand in Griffey's hand.
He threw out Michael Kadire. So Ken Griffey Jr., amazing player. He had an impact on your career division title. They won that game 1-0.
So the reason
Junior came to the Sox and said, I'll play center field for you.
So I got a funny.
He didn't have to.
No, so
he didn't have to.
So I got a funny story
because he told me I haven't played center field in like 10 years.
But he said I haven't played every day center field 5 years. So we're in Kansas City.
Are you playing center field here? Oh, you're not playing it. I'll play for you.
Big game. And it was like 90, like 99, 100, whatever. And we didn't know. I didn't know this at the time. And he's in center field, like asking for like something's up. And everyone's like, oh, so he must have pulled something. They bring him out, and his shoe is like almost like kind of melting. Everybody's like, what the hell? And he's like asking to put water on his legs. Everybody's like, it was so hot in the outfield. And his metal rod, because he's got a metal rod on his leg, is like getting hot. And I said, wow, this guy's still playing baseball. He's got this. So for him, I think when people knock on him about, he didn't win, he never went to a World Series. Those are all things that to a guy like him, he loved the game, enjoyed the game. He's a Hall of Famer.
Didn't you love what he said? That Lou Piniella would tell him, like, hey, it's April. Relax. Like when you play in the outfield, you don't have to go get that ball. And he said, I only know how to play one way.
Well, that's the other thing, though.
That was like
but that's the difference between playing and practicing. Because if you saw a kid, you saw him like stretching, he wasn't a guy that. There's guys that get to the top level that when you see him, he's talking, hanging out. He barely stretched, barely got ready, and then in the game time, he's just going like.
Documented in this, he took 3 at bats after he broke his wrist. He went to Tacoma, took 3 at bats in Tacoma. Flew himself back to Minnesota. I'm ready to play. 3 at bats, joins a team, hits a home run the first day he plays. Unbelievable talent. I watch this and remember we used to have the Ken Griffey Jr. Super Nintendo. Him and Frank Thomas were it.
I think they made the sport in a time where they're talking about 2 African Americans at that moment, but they were the face of baseball. And it wasn't like, oh, well, he plays in the West Coast and it's Seattle, which is the worst excuse for the Mike Trout. Nobody knows Mike Trout because he's on the Anaheim.
But the thing is, Griffey
was in Seattle.
But Griffey was marketable.
When I say where is Seattle? Like, where is Seattle? Like, no, people be like, where's Seattle? Like, I'm like, oh, this random.
I was in a tour, Japanese.
So you guys went to Japan. You guys flew together with his
father's son.
That's amazing.
And he's like, they hit the home run against Kurmakasco. Then Kurmakasco come I go, hey, I just talked to my mom and said, what happened? I said, I want Ozzy Jr. to play with me.
So they can go deep. Isn't it great that his dad hit the home run? And apparently he comes in. And he goes, that's how you do it, son.
And knowing his father, though, knowing his dad, though.
By the way, his dad made 3 All-Star teams. His dad was no problem.
People talk about, like, what's the best father-son combination?
And bad man. He can play.
Yeah, and the fact, like, this is unbelievable. Like, he's the first one. And he says it on a documentary. I wanted to be the number 1 pick in the country. Yeah. Like he knew he was a bad guy.
Because he had
the fact that he has no link to PEDs, he has no link to steroids. If he doesn't he got hurt a lot in Cincinnati, torn hamstring, torn ligaments. Like he went through it, still hit 600 home runs.
Because I think he's still the way that he played. He played so hard, so early in his career that took a toll on him later in his career.
But I think
he retired with the White Sox.
With the White Sox.
Yeah, but we have to I think that we have to really put. Obviously, he's a Hall of Famer, but you have to really think about really hard about, is Ken Griffey Jr. the best natural baseball player that the sport of baseball?
I think we used to talk about like launch angle average. Now people
you're talking about launch angle, but that's a launch angle.
That's what I mean. But defense,
they can go.
And the story about the fans are telling him, "Oh, when you come to New York," and he said, "Even if it's the last team to give me a contract, I won't play for the Yankees." That shows to his morals, to what he believes, because they told him when he was Mr. Steinbrenner said, "I don't want anybody in the dugout," and his dad told him,
"Look at Greg Nettles.
Look at third base." And Craig Nettles' kids was taking ground balls, and his dad told him like, "Hey, we can't be here." That's the first time he realized like,
we're different.
I'm different, and he still to this day thought about that. That's why the lessons that you teach your kid, the lessons that you teach Adela, they stick with you. Yeah. He hated the Yankees and his dad was a player. He hated the Yankees just because of that. And he killed them. By the way, poor David Cone, great pitcher, but he was killing David Cone, Wells, everybody. He had an extra incentive to beat the mighty Yankees. And he played in Seattle, and he played in Cincinnati, and he became a superstar. That goes to show you, same thing with basketball. It doesn't matter where you play. If you're good, you're good. If you're good, you're going to be great.
So there's one play that people ask about that I think, for me, defines who Ken Griffey Jr. is as a player, and it's the Edgar Martinez, the hit that saved baseball in New York. And
he wasn't even hitting.
He wasn't even hitting. He was on first base, and he runs.
You're making fun of Gerald? Gerald Williams got to as quick as
Gerald Williams is is a really good outfielder. So it wasn't like Ryan Klesko. It wasn't like Ryan Klesko was out there.
And rest in peace, who catches the cutoff? Tony Fernandez.
I mean, racing.
Oh, that's why it was safe.
No. But I'm saying when you're looking at a baseball player, okay, I'm like the five.
I might have arm is horrible.
I've seen him as his high school video of him scouting. You're like, boss. It's seeing like a kid. You're like, oh my god. Like, you could see how great he's going to be. But seeing him go from first to home, amazing. I get goosebumps.
But he knows when scoring that winning run. That's
because to your point, Edgar. Oh my God! Everyone that you know, Jack McDowell. Jack. I think it was a splitter. Yeah. It stayed up. Edgar hits the double, and he tells a story about, I knew if it goes down the line, it stays. Jesus could have came down himself. Griffey wasn't stopping.
No.
Because if you look at the video, if you guys seen it, Joey Cora, other guy in the video, he scores, and he's not even thinking about Griffey. He's thinking Griffey's going to go to third. Yeah. He's like this. He scores, and he's like this. And then he sees it. He's seeing Griffey, and now he starts going crazy.
He can see the ball. The ball was up front of him. No, I said, I will make it.
But from going,
but as a runner,
and what's super hard?
You have to know from the beginning when you take off.
Seattle, the ball in the line, it dies. He's just like, no, it's not a foul.
But I'm saying as a runner, I think that the only way that you make that play possible is from the moment you take off.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Everything when you're running, as soon as you hit it, you create that a bat. It's a triple or it's a double.
That's what I mean.
But you take off right
away. Edgar hits the ball. Griffey takes off. Cora scores easy. Griffey takes off. And then his wife, he talks about it in the documentary, his wife said, I didn't even know you could run that fast. And he said, I don't show it all the time. He's on turf.
Yeah.
It was like he was just like a deer. I'm scoring on this hit. One of the best. Seattle didn't even beat Cleveland, but that was so historic. And A-Rod is a kid, and he hugs him, and it's like, oh my God, Griffey's. And you're right, absolutely right. My favorite memory of him is that scoring, and then the home run derby in Baltimore, because when we were growing up, he was it. I think him and Frank didn't have that personality that Griffey had. He was that guy, and I totally.
He's the only guy that can wear his hat backwards.
That's the only guy wear a hat backwards with me.
But yeah, you can't tell.
But you can't tell.
No. I said, Joe, he comes to my office. Go, hey, what's up, man? Hey, the rules. You talk to the players. What you want me to do? I said, when you're in line up, you want to play center field. I said, well, I will play center field for you. I don't know how much I'm going to last because I haven't played center field for years. And please, you got to put a word to say. I can lead the way I come in.
He said that?
I said, what? Yeah, you have to wear your bat the right way. Go, oh, I can lead the way I come in.
Even the great Ozzie Guillen.
I said, hey, bro, you know what? You can go butt naked to the field. The longer you respect. Oh, one thing he did, he hit, he coming in. I said, I know you I know you for a long time.
The routine.
When that's your routine. You hit the season. That's it. When you hit, can you stay faking it for a couple minutes in the field and stuff? Make sure your teammate know about it. I will talk to a couple of the guys. Say that's his routine. Because we never used to that routine. We don't care. We don't believe who coming in, who coming out.
Yeah, basically what my dad's trying to say for people out there is that sometimes when you're big time, Manny, Big Papi, or Pujols, the big boys, after they hit, they go in the clubhouse.
Ozzie Jr.
They don't shag. And other players get upset with that, but that's Griffey's routine.
Yeah.
And then the Sox, you have to talk to Burley, Konerko. You can't. They get upset because if you're
part of the team.
You think about how big time you have to be. Like you hit, like I'm not even picking balls up. Like you guys pick it up.
Okay, but he did stay out. I think because he liked the teammate. He liked his teammate. Stay out, Papa. He come in.
That just shows you the respect.
He let me know. Hey, I'm going in. He should walk in.
Right. That's called the respect that he has.
But the Rays respect him so much. They know that's his routine.
Yeah, and you have to say. Griffey respected you enough to
and you know what I did in Venezuela very quick? All those Venezuelan players, they thought there was a shot. They played with me Winter League. They were like, wow. I said, well, you play Mexico? Come on.
Griffey shag.
Okay. No. And I say, oh, really? First group hit, going in. Second group hit, going in. I'm watching him. Your boy Cafe Martinez. And I go, okay. We played. Next day, I went to the hitting coach. I said, number 1, number 2 group, the last group to hit. What? They hit last. And they say anything, you come to me. Oh, Cafe Martinez was ready to hit all this boy talking crap. I go, oh, group 1, the kids. What? Get your butt out in the field.
Go chat.
Okay, you want to play game? We play game. Now you got to chat. If you don't want to hit, don't chat and you go ahead. That's cool, but you're not hitting and they all those keep chatting and you're not. You just there do nothing.
The world of shagging. Well, unfortunately, that is a wrap for today's show on Being Guillen. You want to check out us live on La Vida Baseball Monday and Wednesday.
Ozzie's birthday's on
1
Tuesday.
p.m. Eastern. You have La Vida Baseball.
How old are you going to be?
And then
how old are you going to be?
36 years old. One year away from when he retired.
And he gets opening day on Sunday.
The Brown. Yeah, I'll be managing.
And I'm so proud to see Adela grow up the way you did.
Okay, so thank you so much. Being Guillen, we are off. See you guys soon.